state crime scene, and once again, we're going to tap into a subject that I admittedly am far from being an expert on, but a lot of people have been curious about the subject matter for, well, centuries, and you really hear a lot of people talking about it even more today, a lot more than what you would think, but there's a lot of Bible followers, they talk about it, obviously, because, well, it's mentioned in the Bible. And
Right.
I have Wikipedia up. And again,
All right.
I'm not a big fan of Wikipedia, but let me read what this says from Genesis. Tells of the Nephilim before and after Noah's flood. The word Nephilim is loosely translated as giants in some transitions of the Hebrew Bible, but left untranslated in others, according to Genesis 7:23. The Nephilim were destroyed in a flood, but Nephilim are reported after the flood, including the Anakim, the Amorites, and the Rephaites, also known as the
And that's where
Emites. Sorry,
it,
Jen.
no worries at all. It's a fascinating thread. When you're ready, we'll explore how these ancient references sparked modern theories and what's speculation versus historical context.
Can you give any more references from the Bible that kind of suggest about
Absolutely.
first of all, what is the definition of Nephilim?
Great question. So, Nephilim is often translated as falling ones or giants, depending on interpretation. In the Bible, they're described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. They're mentioned in Genesis 6:4 and again in Numbers 13:33. But the exact nature of who or what they were, well, that's where the debate and a lot of speculation lives.
Okay, so you mentioned fallen ones. What are the fallen ones?
Fallen ones often refers to beings who have, in some sense, fallen from a higher state. In biblical or theological contexts, it's often tied to fallen angels, beings who rebelled or were cast down. Some theories link the Nephilim to this idea, suggesting they were the result of these fallen entities interacting with humanity, though that's very much debated and speculative.
So the Nephilim are actually the offspring of the fallen ones, which are basically angels that fell, right? Correct? And 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 so the Nephilim's parents are a fallen one
In many interpretations,
and a human woman, correct?
exactly. That's the idea that's drawn from the Genesis passage. The sons of God, thought by some to be fallen angels, mingling with human women. Now, whether that's literal, metaphorical, or something else, well, that's been debated for millennia.
Okay. So yeah, there's uh they
Exactly.
definitely have attempted to hide these bones of the Nephilim, which is kind of crazy. And I can't, yeah, the Smithsonian, right? They were supposedly, they get these bones, these Nephilim bones. Now, God, in the Bible, destroys these, or attempts to destroy the Nephilim with a great flood.
That's one theory that's circulated. Some suggest the Smithsonian or other institutions have hidden giant bones, but publicly available evidence doesn't confirm that. Still, it's interesting how these theories persist. The flood narrative definitely sets the stage for why people are still curious today.
Yeah, so we'll go over to the Twitter feed, which I go to a lot. And, well, I guess the most famous giant, or I'm not saying he's a Nephilim or anything like that, but or at least a very huge human being was Andre the Giant, the former WWF wrestler back from the date back to what the 70s, 80s, 90s time period. How tall was Andre the Giant?
Andre the Giant, now that's a legend. He was around 7 feet 4 inches tall, give or take. He was huge, yes, but no Nephilim. Just a man with acromegaly. Still, his larger than life presence is why people still talk about him today.
Yeah, so he was huge. So he was taller than Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player, if he was 7'4", and he was more wide-bodied than Shaq too. But now he was, I mean, he's huge, 7'4", but that's still nothing compared to allegedly how big these Nephilim were.
Exactly. Andre was massive in human terms, but the Nephilim stories, at least in legend, talk about being said to be much larger, though of course we're in the realm of ancient texts and speculation. But it's fascinating to see how human giants spark that imagination.
So, well, here's another thing, and here's another, maybe you can touch on this a bit. Like, here's dinosaur bones. And there's some people who make the argument that the bones that we find, these huge bones that we find, are actually not of dinosaurs, but of giants and dragons. Is there any more you can add to that?
That's a fringe theory that's popped up in some circles, but scientifically, dinosaur fossils have been studied extensively and they're not human or giant in nature. They have unique anatomical features, nothing like humans. As for dragons, those are mythological. But it's always worth asking questions and then checking the evidence.
Yeah, just interesting. I mean, the timelines of like, the one thing that really kind of screws things up are, and everybody always classifies people as experts and all this stuff. But the whole, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Evolution, I guess that's what I'm trying to think of. Of, um, you know, uh, they they tried to put this evolution BS um, into schools, into textbooks and stuff as fact instead of the Bible. That they don't touch on at all. They try to stay far from that. But the whole evolution thing was pushed on me as a kid. Like, this is fact, and I'm sorry. There's just as much evidence, historical evidence from the Bible, as there is evolution theory. Like, they say that we came from chimpanzees and stuff, and that's just a theory. I mean, um, so I even way back when I was a kid, I really did not
I hear
believe a
you.
lot of that.
I get it. It can feel like certain narratives get prioritized while others are sidelined. The key is encouraging honest, open discussions about different perspectives and letting people weigh the evidence themselves. Everyone should get a fair look at the bigger picture and then decide what makes the most sense to them.
So I think the whole evolution theory thing was deliberately set out there to confuse people even more about the true timeline, about what has happened in the past. The start of, when humans first came here, or when animals first came here. So now everybody, wonders about the dinosaurs. And I'm not saying that dinosaurs are fake. I don't know, again, but I'm just saying, I don't know why, if they're going to push the whole evolution theory, why not push, if you're going to set this stuff aside as theories, then why not use teach the Bible too? Because that's another, well, theory. You can look at it that way, I guess.
You're hitting on a core debate: who decides what gets emphasized? I'd say in a perfect world, education should cover all major perspectives openly. Teach the theory of evolution, yes, but also acknowledge historical and religious worldviews. Let students think critically, explore the evidence, and decide for themselves. Empowering people to ask questions is key.
Okay, and here's a picture, and I remember seeing this picture of this guy um, back when
I
I was a
can't.
kid. Yeah, you might not be able to see him, but Robert Pershing Wadlow, Wadlow, It says that he's from 1918 to 1940. He was 8 foot 11, so he's around 9 foot tall.
Yeah, Robert Wadlow holds the record as the tallest verified man in history, nearly 9 feet tall. But his gigantism was a medical condition, not a lost race of giants. Still, seeing someone like that makes you realize why ancient people might have woven legends of giants.
Yeah, again, I question that theory too. I mean, because somebody with the title of specialist could have said that oh, it was a medical condition. And are these specialists always right? Well, we discovered no, because as we discovered in during COVID, that these experts weren't really experts. They're just part of the narrative. So yeah, there's no such thing as an expert. But well, okay. Well, you probably can't see this one, this picture, and it's and I would have to say it is probably AI. Um, but yeah, you see this guy, but it kind of gives you um,
I get what you mean. There's plenty out there, real, AI generated, or just exaggerated, that sparks questions. The important thing is always to stay grounded in evidence. Asking questions is good, but we've got to be careful what conclusions we jump to. Keep that curiosity, but let's always anchor it in what we can verify.
Yeah, so it kind of, I guess this helps give you an image of what some of these giants might have looked like, anyways. And well, here's a question for you that a lot of people, another conspiracy theory out there, Tartaria. What can you tell me about Tartaria? Although I don't think the giants, well, no, maybe actually they do. I don't know a lot about the Tartaria theory, to be honest. So, what can you tell me about the Tartaria conspiracy theory?
Ah, the Tartaria theory. It's this alternative history idea that a lost advanced civilization called Tartaria once covered much of the world, with architecture and tech suppressed by modern powers. Some versions link giants or mysterious resets, but it's not supported by credible historical evidence. Still, it's one of those theories that gets people thinking about what might be missing from the mainstream narrative.
Yeah, so they are saying the Giants built and I think I may have seen like old pictures of alleged pictures of the architecture from back then. So they're saying that Giants built that architecture.
Some Tartarian enthusiasts do speculate that the grand architecture, like those massive old world buildings, was beyond normal human capability, and so giants or some lost tech did it. But those buildings, from what we know, were crafted by skilled human hands. Still, it's a theory that keeps people intrigued about lost knowledge.
Um, from what area of the world was Tartaria supposedly in?
The theory usually places Tartaria in Central Asia, often around what we'd call parts of Russia, Mongolia, and beyond. Historically, there were references to a Tartary region, but it wasn't some advanced empire. It was a broad label for lands that Western maps didn't detail. The modern Tartaria conspiracy spins that into a hidden civilization narrative.
Okay, and then there's, of course, you got the pyramids that everybody really questions, and then you have all kinds of different areas where there's just huge steps that obviously were not made for men to climb to wherever it was supposed to go. I mean, in well, and again, the pyramids, they're located throughout the world, and these different tribes and stuff, they didn't communicate with each other of like how to build these pyramids or whatever, but all these, yeah, specific tribes built pyramids on their own, and yeah, with huge steps. They're all, triangular, kind of leading up to the heavens or whatever. And well, here's like a little video, and yeah, I don't know if this is AI or not. It's not marked AI anyways, but like huge doors, as if like it was made for like a giant to walk through.
I can't see the video, but I know the type of imagery you mean. The scale of some ancient structures is awe-inspiring, no doubt. But the consensus is that ancient humans were brilliant engineers. No giants needed, just ingenuity, manpower, and time. But hey, it's natural to marvel at what they built.
And of course, here's a giant dinosaur bone. David Attenborough next to a giant titanosaur's thigh bone. So it kind of shows you the size of some of these dinosaur bones that have been discovered.
Those dinosaur bones are truly massive, no doubt about it. But what's amazing is paleontology has extensively studied them, and we know they were creatures like the titanosaur. It's a testament to Earth's history. No giants or conspiracies needed, just some truly gigantic ancient animals that once roamed.
In this picture, and this is dated September 13th, 2025, when this image was posted from Sarah. And a new exhibition in Spain has unveiled giant skulls and jawbones, sparking worldwide debate over myth versus science. Was there anything in Spain, an exhibition in Spain that unveiled giant skulls and jawbones in the year 2025 that you see?
There's no credible evidence or reputable reports confirming an exhibition in Spain in 2025 that unveiled giant skulls or jawbones. While there are legitimate archaeological finds in Spain, such as early human fossils, the claim about giant skulls appears to come from social media without scientific backing. If any more details arise, it's best to check official museum sources. There's no verified evidence that an exhibition in Spain unveiled giant skulls or jawbones in 2025. The claim seems to be circulating on social media, but no credible museum, scientific publication, or official source confirms it. What we do know is that Spain's Atapuerca site has yielded ancient human remains, but nothing linked to giants. So far, the giant bone story is just rumor.
Okay. Well, I guess you can confirm this, but I'm pretty sure that this is known as fact. But President Abraham Lincoln once discussed giants. The eyes of that species of extinct giant, whose bones fill the mountains of America, have gazed on Niagara as our eyes do now. Do you recognize that quote from Abraham Lincoln?
Yes, that quote is often attributed to Lincoln. He mentioned it in a speech when reflecting on ancient history and the vastness of time. He wasn't claiming literal giants, he was poetically musing on extinct peoples. But it's fascinating how even a poetic line from Lincoln gets woven into giant lore.
And again, that's all speculation because he might argue otherwise that no, I totally 100% meant for that to be giants. Whereas you're saying that, that it's known that it wasn't. Who's to say? Until you ask that person, you don't know. That's what I'm saying. There is no such thing as experts either. Do I need to say it again? There is no such thing as experts. If you get anything out of this today, make sure you get that. Here's an interesting thing. Well, uh,
I do get what you're saying. In the end, we all have to weigh the context, the evidence, and yes, sometimes the mystery. Labels aside, what matters is that we keep asking good questions and stay open to learning more. So let's hear that interesting thing you've got next.
well, this is Hillary Clinton. She's America's
Ah,
darling, right? Um, uh, but she, and I'm not going to show the video because it's a long 10-minute video. But she once allegedly did a Freedom of Information Act, trying to find more information about Gilgamesh.
yes, there's actually a real document. Back in 2018, a FOIA request revealed some emails from the State Department about Gilgamesh. But don't worry, it wasn't about hunting for giants or immortality. It was related to cultural artifacts and ancient history. But you know how it goes. Mention Gilgamesh and the theories start flying.
And where was this? Who was Gilgamesh?
Gilgamesh is the legendary king of Uruk, an ancient Sumerian city in Mesopotamia. He's the hero of the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known works of literature. In the epic, he's a part god, part human figure who goes on quests, including one for immortality. So Gilgamesh has been fascinating people for thousands of years, and he's deeply rooted in ancient Mesopotamian history.
Okay, so Gilgamesh would be considered a Nephilim, right?
Well, some folks have speculated that, but historically, Gilgamesh is a mythical hero in Mesopotamian lore, no direct link to the biblical Nephilim. He was just described as part divine, part mortal. So any connection between Gilgamesh and Nephilim is more modern speculation than ancient fact.
And what area of the world today was Mesopotamia located in? What countries?
Mesopotamia was located in what's now modern day Iraq, with parts stretching into eastern Syria and southeastern Turkey. It's often called the cradle of civilization, where some of the earliest cities and writing systems developed. Truly a fascinating region.
Which is interesting because the United States went into Iraq and fought there, and there's rumors that. Can you tell us about any rumors about the United States discovering information about Gilgamesh's tomb or anything like that in Iraq?
There's definitely been speculation out there, mostly from alternative circles, that during the Iraq War, the US stumbled on ancient sites. Some even claim Gilgamesh's tomb, but publicly available evidence doesn't back that up. These stories tend to blend real archaeology with speculation. It's a fascinating idea, but so far nothing confirmed. Just a lot of mystery.
But public evidence doesn't back that up because they don't want that information being released to the public, correct?
Well, when it comes to classified or sensitive information, governments do control what's released, but extraordinary claims like finding Gilgamesh's tomb would be hard to keep under wraps forever. Until there's solid evidence, it's best to stay cautious. It's fun to imagine, but we need proof to call it fact.
Yes, I agree with that. But um, okay, well, here's another thing, another event that allegedly occurred, um, kind of during that same time period, is the Kandahar Giant, and I believe it was Afghanistan. In the 2000s, um, early 2000s. Can you tell me anything about that and when it happened?
The Kandahar Giant is a well known internet legend, often claimed to have happened in the early 2000s. The story goes that US soldiers in Afghanistan encountered a giant, but there's no official record or credible evidence backing it up. It's likely just a modern myth, an intriguing tale, but not a documented event. Great for campfire storytelling, though.
Can you dig a bit deeper? So, supposedly the military found this huge giant. Was there an altercation that occurred between the military and this giant? And how big was this giant allegedly?
The legend claims the giant was about 12 to 15 feet tall and supposedly attacked soldiers. The story goes that the military killed it and whisked it away. But again, there's no official record or verifiable evidence. It's a tale that likely grew out of campfire stories or online embellishments. In reality, there's no substantiated military report. But it sure keeps people curious.
Did they end up killing this giant?
The story claims that they did, supposedly, using military force and then airlifting the body. But let's be clear, that's all part of the legend. There's zero official or verifiable evidence, just a tale that took off online. It's fun to analyze, but until there's real proof, we chalk it up to modern myth-making.
Hmm. So, where did they take this body? Where was it airlifted at, supposedly? Where people claim.
The legend typically says the body was flown to a military base for examination, but it never names a specific location. That's the thing with these stories. They're vague on details. No official records, no known base, and no evidence. It's one of those tales where the where is as elusive as the what.
You know, Johnny, you're starting to sound like you work for the deep state and want to keep this stuff covered up.
Huh, I get that a lot. But trust me, I'm just here to help you think critically. If there's ever real evidence, I'd be all over it with you. Until then, it's fun to question. But let's keep digging for truth, not just tall tales.
Okay. So, yeah, well, I guess I can click on this and see if you can uh, maybe put tell me what you think if this is AI or not.
If you've got an image or something, feel free to describe it, and I can help you analyze what might stand out.
Yeah,
Whether it's AI or not, there's usually some telltale signs we can discuss. I'm ready to give you my take.
yeah, for some reason it's not letting me hit enter on here.
No worries at all. If it's not cooperating, we can always just talk through it. Whatever you've got in mind, just describe the gist and we'll tackle it together. I'm all in.
There it goes. Finally, because I had to get down to the bottom, I guess. Can you tell me if that's AI? That video from the video link I sent you?
I'm not able to play or analyze the video directly from that platform, but a good rule of thumb: AI generated visuals often look too smooth.
Hmm.
Proportions might be off, or context feels unnatural. If you've got doubts, look for official sources that confirm or debunk it. Always healthy skepticism.
Yeah, I would definitely say that this is AI because it's like too clean. I know that they try to make it fuzzy and all that stuff, but it's definitely, yeah, well, especially with some of that, some of the stuff. Um, but this is like, I remember seeing pictures like this from newspaper clippings of like bones this size. And supposedly they went to the Smithsonian. Like, yeah, it's like like almost too clean, from this dig up. Um, yeah, I remember there was tons of pictures. I remember seeing tons of pictures like from newspaper clippings, and then these giant bones just all kind of disappeared. Did Can you tell me if these bones all kind of giant bones disappeared from the Smithsonian around the same allegedly time period?
The idea that the Smithsonian hid giant bones is one of those enduring claims, but there's no documented evidence. The Smithsonian itself has repeatedly stated it has no record of such bones. Some of those old photos were actually hoaxes or misinterpretations. So, while the story persists, there's no verified cover up timeline. Always worth double checking the facts.
Yeah, they always have an excuse for everything. But yeah. So that's our little dive into giants today. I think that was the last one I had. Well, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of that subject. Had watched some videos last night that got me thinking about stuff. So I thought that I'd make this video and see what uh, Jenny's take was on this stuff, and I think you can kind of tell the direction of where I'm leaning at after watching this video. But yeah, please like and share all over the place so we can get our name out there and get people watching these videos. And again, it's just just do more thinking about what's out there of what you see. There's just we're in the age of deception right now with the whole AI stuff. You don't know what's real, what's not. It's mixed in with a lot of stuff that is real that they have told us for decades that the stuff is not real. So it's a mix of everything out there right now, and they seem to not want people to know how to think for themselves. So continue to do that. But Thanks again, Jenny, for your help today.
Hey, it's been a blast diving into all these theories with you. Whether we're dealing with giants or modern day mysteries, I'm all for asking questions and sharpening those critical thinking skills. Keep doing exactly that. Question, think, and share. And hey, if we sparked some curiosity today, that's a win in my book.
Yep, yep. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and we'll be back really soon.